This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? December 21st, 2014 is here. Seems fitting it's the longest night of the year. Because in many ways, we're in the midst of that night. A society dominated by might makes right. Those with power calling the shots. Those with power firing the shots. Those without receiving the shots, bleeding and leading to burials and funeral plots. So as we celebrate our Savior's birth, tell me this, what's a black life worth? Discrimination written into our system of laws makes me want to take a time out, press pause. Stand your ground feels like an uppercut to the chin, since those rights only seem to be granted to those with white skin. Our system perpetuates white privilege and white supremacy, cops with itchy trigger fingers, homicidal tendencies and biases that tell them that black equals criminal. That bias is there whether overt or subliminal, because if the system is racist, then racism will find its way into people's thoughts, their hearts and their minds, and it takes an active resistance to fight back and not be complicit, but fix it, rewrite that, because history will continue to repeat itself if we let it. And if you think we live in a post-racial society, then you just don't get it. Because this is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Oscar Grant, Sean Bell, Amadou Diallo. Did they all deserve to die? Were they just thugs, just animals? Do you buy into that lie? Do you buy into the propaganda of the system where a cop that kills an unarmed black man becomes the victim and the dead black man gets portrayed as the devil? If I were killed, would they portray me on that level? See, I can say without hesitation, it's a fact that I've been pulled over for driving while black, for fitting the description. That's the line they give. And if I talk back to that cop, would I live? Because absolute power corrupts absolutely. I'm just reaching for my wallet, officer. Don't shoot me. And would the killer not even be brought to trial? And would so many people just live in denial and trust a criminal justice system that ignores the evidence and refuse to look at the historical precedent? It's like thinking back to Emmett Till. These days, they're killing Emmett still. This illegal chokehold on justice is hard to believe. In fact, it's making it hard to breathe. Because this is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? So what would Christ like? Would he stand for this? Would Christ join the protests, raise a fist? The teachings of Christ go beyond just charity to confronting oppression, standing in solidarity, having open, honest, sacred conversations, raising banners, raising children to fight against discrimination, raising money to fight the Ebola epidemic in Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, saying Black Lives Matter and seeing that globally, not only if it's close to home. Standing for the oppressed, whether based on race, sexual orientation, gender, class, whatever the case. Christ wouldn't call people illegals out of arrogance and ignorance, for Christ would understand that he too was an immigrant. Christ would black out Black Friday in the shopping spree obsession to keep the focus on society's racism and oppression and to separate Christmas from blind consumerism. Find the real meaning of Christmas and renew that vision. In other words, putting the Christ back into Christmas so that we can put love at the forefront, bearing witness to the miraculous of Jesus' birth and his life as a guide for striving for justice on this earth. This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like? This is not Christ-like. Tell me, what would Christ like?